Now available from 88 Films is another one of their Euro sleaze releases. At least in the US, 88 Films is mostly known for releasing Hong Kong action movies to Blu-ray and 4K, but they also do some fine Euro sleaze releases, and this is one of them. I'm not saying the movie is fine, but it's a fine release of Joe D'Amato's 11 Days, 11 Nights 2 from 1991. This is a 4K UHD and a Blu-ray. So if you don't have a 4K player, you can still get this. Everything that's on the 4K is on the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray just has more in the way of extras, which is a lot of times how they do these on these discs, is they devote either more bit rate and disc space to the 4K so the movie can look really, really good, or some of the extras sometimes are in standard def or non-4K, non-UHD, let's say, or yeah, non-4K, and they just put those on the Blu-ray. Either way, if you've got a Blu-ray player, you can watch the Blu-ray and all the extras. If you've got a 4K player, you can enjoy the whole package. This was from 1991. It is 92 minutes with Kristine Rose, Ruth Collins, and Laura Gemser. Laura Gemser was the only name and face that I recognized. And I say face. Some people recognize Laura Gemser for a lot more than her face, but at this time in her career, it was just the face. So this is a sequel to the 1987 film 11 Days, 11 Nights 2. Apparently there was a sequel to that very soon after called Top Model, but they didn't call it 11 Days, 11 Nights 2. And when they made this movie, they did call it 11 Days, 11 Nights 2. So technically, it's a very weird chronology. This is the third 11 Days, 11 Nights film following the same character throughout multiple saucy adventures, but it's called 11 Days, 11 Nights 2. You figure yourself out. I'll talk about the 4K disc first and then tell you what's on the Blu-ray. The 4K is presented in English 2.0 dual mono. Now, in this case, that is the on-set audio. While it was an Italian production, it was really not intended for Italy necessarily. It was really intended for the US market and for European and overseas markets. And it was shot in the US. So everybody in the film speaks English, much to the detriment of enjoying the film, I think. There is a 2.0 dual mono Italian with English subtitles option. If you want the film to have better vocal performances acting-wise, I would suggest the Italian. If you want it to be more unintentionally funny, I would suggest the English. And it also has English SDH subtitles if you're looking for those. So this is, most of the acting in this film is hilariously flat, like terrible. This is a softcore melodrama, far less explicit. I mean, softcore means not explicit, but far less nudity and rutting than you would expect in a softcore movie, I thought. But it's shot in the US, shot in Louisiana, somewhere around New Orleans. The basic idea is that this woman who is a writer, which is consistent with her character from the previous films, but portrayed by somebody different from the previous two films, Kristine Rose this time around, she is contacted for this film, one of her former lovers has passed away, and for some reason he has appointed her the executor of his will, and she needs to come back and decide which of his conniving family members are worthy of inheriting his business empire and his estate, which is an old plantation. So she stays on the old plantation, and all the family members live there in various rooms. One of them is a young man who is impotent, and he has wired all the rooms with secret cameras so he can watch everybody else getting it on while he can't. And it's various couplings going on here and there with a lot of dialogue and a lot of people being very gravely serious, but who you can't take seriously because it's like you pulled off somebody off the street and said, okay, just read this. Just give me a quick cold reading of this. That's the emotion for the most part from these actors in this. They're not even, the males at least, aren't even overtly like attractive like you'd think would be in a movie where you know they're basically hired to get naked and simulate some things. Again, not terribly explicit, marginally artfully done. Looks okay. It's from that era that I don't love of when the late 80s went into the 90s where everything was like kind of overlit and not really artistically lit. Everything was just flat, not overblown, but just kind of flat. You get several ladies who get naked. You get an extended period of time spent in a New Orleans strip club watching dancers just dance around on a stage. It's really not very good. But if you're into this sort of thing, if you remember this from Skinemax After Dark, which is how I saw this, my memory of stuff like this as a young lascivious male was that I would tape these things on Skinemax After Dark, and then you'd kind of just fast forward to get to the good parts. And some movies you did a lot more fast forwarding than the others, and while I was watching this, I was thinking, this is a movie I would have done a lot of fast forwarding through. So it's not very good. It's disconnected to the other. Laura Gemser basically plays a friend, lawyer, consultant for our lead who's just in it very little. You see her on the phone at a desk and then later jogging and having a quick discussion with our lead, but otherwise she's barely in it. Some of the plot turns and twists are kind of hilarious. It's rather poorly made. I mean, it's competently made, and these movies made money, and Joe D'Amato knew what he was doing and really cranked them out for a long time. But entertainment-wise, I don't know that I would recommend it unless you're a fan of this kind of thing. I don't know if I would recommend a blind buy on this, unless what I tell you makes you think, oh, I gotta bless that. So the transfer looks phenomenal. This movie is probably best for D'Amato completists or people who have a fondness for like early 90s Skinemax After Dark. Special features on the 4K is a commentary by Italian cinema experts Eugenio Ercolani and Nanni Cobretti, which is very interesting, and they talk a lot about D'Amato and the film series and trying to make sense out of the history of these films and where they fall and the characters and the actors and all that stuff. And then it has the Italian opening and closing titles, which is the exact same as the film you watched, other than it's just a different language for the titles. The Blu-ray disc is exactly all that stuff, except not in 4K. And it has 3 more extras that are not on the 4K. Film Mirage from Dawn Till Dusk, which is an interview with dubbing director Mark Thompson Ashworth, which is really cool. It's just an aspect of film you don't really hear a lot about. And it talks about how he got into the business of doing English language dubs for films, what it was like to work with Joe D'Amato and being, asked to be an actor in a lot of Joe D'Amato films. And it's pretty fun, wild and woolly. It's 40 minutes, but it goes by fast. 7 Notes, 11 Nights, an interview with composer Piero Montanari, I should say. And that's 21 minutes, very interesting. And then Eros in the Plastic Age, interview with music historian Pierpaolo De Sanctis, which is 20 minutes. Mr. De Sanctis is someone who runs Four Flies Records, which is an outstanding Italian record label devoted to restoring and re-releasing, sometimes for the first time, releasing film music from Italian genre films from the 60s through the 80s, let's say. And he basically gives an overview of film music for Italian erotic films from that era, and very honest, very interesting. And basically I had to keep pausing it and writing down composers and albums that I needed to look up and try to listen to, because I'm fascinated by that. So The Package is, that's not the right one. It's a Kung Fu movie. Sorry, Discalanche. We have a very nice slipcover, saucy slipcover, front and back. And 88's been doing this thing that's a little weird to me now. I'm always trying to open it on the bottom, but they actually are top loader slip case that gives you the same artwork on the front and the back. Crack it open, and you get a little booklet with a little article about the film. You get the 4K disc, you get the regular Blu-ray disc, and then you get, can I show it to you? Sure. You get a reversible cover. So the regular looks like that, and if you want to reverse it, you get a little touche on there. So that is 11 Days, 11 Nights 2 on 4K UHD from 88 Films. Saucy.